What happened to the electricity? Okay, I was worried about those guys working down there in the Jason substation. I hope nobody got hurt. I hope not. Yeah. Okay. I was just afraid somebody was hurt. I'll holler at you later.
So tell me just as, if you could think of three things that happened in Jasper during the Byrd murder and the aftermath. What would the top three memories that you have be?
Um, Sometimes something I think about is that when the sheriff and the district attorney were going to come out and hold a press conference, there was so much media here that they decided instead of holding it in front of the sheriff's department to hold it across the street in this open field in front of the sheriff's department. And they came out and they were walking across coming towards us, and all of a sudden they turned and went back in. And it was like the sheriff, the district attorney, the chief deputy. They had several officers with them, and they come out and they turned and went back in. And everyone in the media was standing there and saying, "I wonder what happened. They must have decided not to have a press conference." And then when they came back out, one of the deputies had an American flag and the other had a Texas flag. And then they came over and held the press conference. That's always just stayed in my mind as to what happened all of a sudden that they had to have flags up there beside them. Mm-hmm. I learned a lot about the Black Panthers and the Ku Klux Klan both, and that they're just a lot of people who want to go somewhere and be in the spotlight and make a lot of noise. And they all converged on Jasper, and I don't think that any of them cared anything about the situation or what had happened here or anything. They just used it as a spotlight. So now when I see in other towns and other places where you have radical groups jumping up and saying anything, I realize now that most of those are not even from that town. Mm-hmm. So you can never judge what you see on TV as a representation of that town.
And what about the movie Jasper, Texas?
I thought it was a joke. There's nowhere, it was so far from the truth, that it showed the city council and it showed the mayor at that time getting all up involved and in arms and trying to do something about the murder and wanting to get it, a suspect found it. Well, they had suspects identified and in jail within 48 hours of when the incident had. It wasn't like it showed in that movie where, if we don't get a suspect, the town's going to go apart. The other thing that it was a county case, and it was prosecuted and investigated by the Jasper County Sheriff's Department with some help from the Jasper Police Department. But the Sheriff's Department always run the whole deal, and the sheriff from beginning to end. The only influence that was not shown in the movie was that the federal prosecutors came in and assisted the county in its investigation and prosecution of the case, and that wasn't shown in the movie. The feds had a big deal in this. In fact, Johnny Stevens, who is now state district judge in Beaumont, was then an assistant federal prosecutor in the Eastern District of Texas at Beaumont, and he was basically turned over or appointed to help the district attorney with the prosecution of that case. I think that there was something else that really just shocked me from the beginning to the end, was that 2 men got the death penalty out of that deal. They're still sitting on death row. A third individual from this town, Sean Berry, received life in prison. And I never did realize until I realized it kind of early in, and then all of a sudden it really hit see that his family really believed that he was going to be found innocent of that crime or any participation in it, and that they were going to all go home and have a big party that night. And I think they were so shocked whenever he received life in prison. I thought all the way through that they were hoping and praying that they could keep him from getting the death penalty. But no, I think they really thought he would just walk.
Mm-hmm. I noticed that Lewisberry is now a person in the police department.
He works for the Jasper County Sheriff's Department as a deputy.
Okay.
In fact, I wrote a story about him today.
And what was that about?
He helped to solve a burglary in the south end of the county in the story that I wrote today. You know, I never pictured him as anybody that would be around law enforcement, or especially in law enforcement. But, you know, years ago, he was a young man. About all he was looking forward to was chasing women and drinking cold beer. And I mean, he obviously a lot of waters went under the bridge. He's 13 years older than he was then.
Mm-hmm. And how do you see Jasper recovering its future?
Well, I think that Jasper's economy has went off track, and mainly due to the timber industry. And I think that Jasper has to worry about recovering, coming back economically. I don't know that we have anything to see about really recovering from the James Byrd incident.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Is there anything else that you wanted to add?
No, not really.
Why do you like to fly?
Oh, I just do. I love being in the air. Two hobbies that are things that I really enjoy is ham radio, and I enjoy flying. And I enjoy both of those things because I love flying, I love communicating with others, but I also enjoy all the friends that it's brought me over the years. Mm-hmm. You know, for instance, I can get in my little small airplane and I can fly to McGregor, Texas, and meet somebody that has a small airplane there. Next thing you know, we're friends. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we all have that common bond. And
why did you want to be mayor?
I don't know that I still want to be mayor. I don't know that I ever really did want to be mayor. But as a newsman that had been there at City Hall for like 14 or 15 years, watching things happen and seeing a lot of things go unchecked and unbalanced, and one of the main things that I ran for mayor for was that I saw that we needed to get a more business-like, a business-friendly attitude in Jasper if we expect industry and business to come here. And the other thing, one of the main things was there was a poor part of our town over here in the east part of town, not far from where I live, in the poor part of town, by the way. And they had a flooding problem that just continued over there. And I kept doing stories about this for years, and the city was just totally unresponsive in trying to help get this done. And I went and told the people over there if they would help me get elected, that I would see that the water got out of their house. And after about $120,000 drainage project, they don't have to worry about water in their house. So.
That's good. Mm-hmm. That's good. Well, what about the Chamber of Commerce? I haven't heard many people mention the Chamber.
Chamber's probably more active now than it's ever been, but they do a good job at what they do.
And the schools?
Schools. Had a lot of problems in the schools here, finance-wise, otherwise, but it seems to be pretty quiet right now.
I understand the bond election didn't pass.
It didn't pass. About 80% of the people voted against it. And it didn't have anything to do with not supporting the children. It's just that we did not feel that we should expand the school in a time when we've dropped, the attendance is dropped every year.
Mm-hmm. Because population's gone down?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How much has it dropped? Do you have any
figures? I think
figures?
the population's down about 600 people
mm-hmm.
from roughly 10 years ago.
Okay. Okay.
Some say 4, some say 5. I think it's like 6 or 650.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time.